for another segment. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's Tennille. I am back with you all for another segment of Morning Social. And I am excited to be back with you all. Excited to get this thing started today. It's been a crazy morning, and we are literally like 14 minutes late. But listen, things happen and you have to adjust. And I talked to y'all about that before about making it do what it do. And I ended up having to adjust to make a run outside of the office, and I'm back now. So I'm definitely gonna go ahead and get started. And I want to apologize for yesterday. I was not feeling well, and I couldn't even come on to let y'all know that I wasn't feeling well. So sorry about yesterday. We're back at it today, 7:45 every Monday through Friday. That's the goal for us to be on, unless God says otherwise. That's what we'll be doing. So you'll be getting a chance to see this pretty little face on here or hear this gorgeous little voice. Look at the flyer, get the information. Make sure you are following us. Before we get started, I'm gonna go ahead and get prayer in, and we're gonna start doing that right now. So thank you all for coming on. If you're jumping on, make sure that you are letting us know that you are here and where you're from. Okay, you are here and where you are from. So I'm excited. Let's go. Oh, I also share this broadcast with at least 5 year people. Okay, then go on there and let them know you're there. Share us on Facebook and YouTube. You can share us on your pages. Make sure you don't put us in a group. We don't want to look like spam to anybody. Make sure it's on your personal pages. Also, you can share on Instagram. Although we don't air on Instagram, you can share there and let people know that you are on with us, and use our hashtags, y'all. So I'll let y'all know what the hashtags are. They're F2G. Um, I'm sorry, BF2G, which is BEF2G, or with Be Faithful. And we also use for this show F2G Morning Social. I have to remember F2G Morning Social. Okay, so making sure that you all are coming on and hanging out with us. We got a lot going on here, so we're gonna go ahead and get this thing going. So, Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for your presence. We thank you for your love and kindness. We thank you for all the things that you've done for us, God. We appreciate you when we feel like we cannot depend on anybody else. We still have you, and we thank you for your presence in our lives. God, thank you for loving us and keeping us safe. Thank you for guiding us throughout our day and showing us what you have in store for us. Thank you, God, that when we ask what you would have us speak to your people about, you give it to us. So when we ask what would you like for us to do that day, you give us guidance. We appreciate you, oh God, for all that you do and what you will do. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rushing and I kind of rushed prayer. So sorry. Okay, I have to remember that this is my station, so I have to make sure that I am flowing in everything I'm supposed to do. So yeah, if you're on, you're watching, you're listening, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live right now on F2G Radio, and let me get my little radio voice going. Yeah. So now we're back here. Ready? We are live right here on F2G Radio and excited to be back with you all one more time. So, F2GRadio.net is a Black family owned business. It is ran by myself and my son. We have been in business since 2020, y'all. The network itself has been running since 2021, January 1st, 2021. So we've had literally our second year anniversary was this year. Okay, so we're excited about it. We're 2 years old. The show itself, F2G Radio, is our foundational show, and that show actually started in March of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. Well, I guess right as the pandemic hit. We had already started doing our own thing. We were on Inspiration 98.7 at that time, but we were starting before then, and we had started coming on Facebook and doing a lot of things. F2G has been around since 19. I'm sorry, since 2014. I'm like since 19. Yeah, it was since we were born. I guess we were always faithful to God, but since 2014 is when we started to create for F2G. So excited about that part. We are, like I said, 2 years in on the network and loving what God is doing with us and just realizing what our purpose is in the earth. And our purpose is to create platforms that those who normally don't have an opportunity to have will have, so we can go forward and everybody fulfill their purpose. We want to see everybody do good and do it in excellence. So that means that sometimes you have to step outside of the box and make sure that you're stepping up to the plate where God calls you to. So that's what we're going to talk about this morning, stepping up to the plate of where God has called you to come. So you don't have to worry about all of the extra that goes on in life. You just make sure you're stepping up. So, hey, Brian. So we have Brian Bird back with us one more time. Look, it automatically puts you into speaking mode. Isn't that great?
Well, I was like, oh, I'm in the number today.
Yes. So excited to have you back with us today. So we're talking about stepping up to the plate, and I'm excited about this topic because lately that's been my focus, is making sure that I step up to the plate in a lot of areas, making sure that I'm not lacking or dropping the ball. Y'all would believe how many times we get assignments and then turn around and drop the ball. And it may not even be intentional. You could have been doing your best. But in your best, did you check with God to make sure you were doing what He wanted you to do, or if you were doing your best and not His? It's there's certain things that we can do, and like I said, not intentional. We can do these things thinking that we're doing our best, but how do you think about yourself? Like, are you looking at yourself the way God looks at you, or are you looking at yourself the way you look at you? Because our best is never going to be enough. God's best that He gave us is always sufficient. So if we're constantly trying to step up to the plate under our own will, you're never going to meet the mark. I mean, we're going to do good things and it's going to look good. But if you're not following the pattern that He has for your life and you're doing it out of your own strength, then you're gonna lack in some areas. There's something gonna be dropped. You're gonna figure out that it's not because that it's not going through. Because listen, I'm being honest that even in the network, within this network, we had that happen several times, and I have to correct me because I'm the CEO. So everything that happens on this network falls back on this queen. I don't care what it is now. I'm co-founder, but it doesn't fall on B. Let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all about yourself real quick. Let me let me hurry up and tell y'all. Y'all love him so much that y'all don't even blame him for stuff. You know what I'm saying? That ain't right. Like, I feel like we should be 50-50 to blame for stuff that happens on this network. No, but because I'm his mama, they blame me. And it's wrong. But my thing with that is I honestly humbly take the blame, because although I will tell him when he drops the ball, or I will express to him when somebody else has dropped it, and I'm like, we have to deal with this. I take most of the heat as the CEO of F2G Network, because at the end of the day, the vision God gave us for the network, He gave to me. See what I mean by stepping up to the plate? Sometimes you have to give up your right to be right. Sometimes you have to step up and say, okay, I did this. This is my assignment. This was what He showed me. Now, yes, I have a full team, but my team has their assignments up under the assignment God gave me. So that's the chain of command. God gave it to me. I gave out the assignments, and they are to execute. When they don't execute, yes, I can talk to them about it, but at the end of the day, I have to answer to God about the assignment that was done or wasn't done. I have to step up and take the blame for it, because at the end of the day, I am the one who should have went back and checked to make sure everything was done. I'm the one that has the meetings. I'm the one to check in on my team and make sure that they are spiritually still connected, that they're okay, that they are able to talk, that they're able to express themselves freely and talk to me about whatever they want to talk about. And I make sure that my team has an open door, and believe me, they take advantage of it. They make sure, and I'm not saying take advantage in a bad way, they take advantage of it. Hey, I need to talk. Hey, can you pray for me? Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, I'm having this situation. Can we work this out? Hey, I need to step back from my show. Hey, I need to step back because I need to do this. Hey, God called me into that. They come to me with everything, and I am okay with that, because that means that they trust me as a leader. They trust me with what God gave them to do, and they trust that all I want is God's plan for their lives. I don't just want it for me. It's a lot of companies that's out here that when you join those companies, they're about company. They don't care. You can be working your behind off, get sick, and been working 29 years with them. You get sick and have to take a day off, there's a problem. You have to leave for any reason and take sick leave, you might get fired doing sick leave. It's almost like you were never there for 29 years. I'm not that boss because I understand that part. I've been on the corporate side, I've been on the employee side, I've been a team member, and I've been a team lead. I've ran ministries where, and within churches where I had to lead and be that tough leader because some people don't understand the ministry is ministry and it's not a playground. And although we joke and have fun, don't get me wrong, but it's still not a playground. Like, you got to be ready when you're on the front line. So even working through this ministry, because we still call the radio station, the entertainment company, the apparel company, all of it is ministry for us because there's messages from God that we're getting out. But I have to step up to the plate to make sure that they get out. So, Brian, let me ask you this. I don't know if you're able to talk freely right now, but if you are, can you tell me, has there ever been a time that you had to go through things like even on your job where you're put into a tough leadership role and you had to make really tough decisions about what needs to be done and you didn't have backup?
Yes. Well, today I'm taking the day off, so I got time to talk. So this is hilarious.
Awesome.
So today, yesterday was actually a prime example. We had several important leaders come in the building, and like I literally felt the weight of responsibility fall upon me, and I could have had a right to complain, and be like, why am I the only one moving these tables?
Right.
This I'm passing two, four, six different gentlemen. Like, why y'all not helping? Why y'all not doing that? But if I didn't step up, it would never got done. And I was in the parking lot, and from 7 a.m. to almost like 10:30 a.m. yesterday, because I had to make sure everybody parked and got a parking spot. If I didn't step up and let it go where it went, what possibly could have went wrong? And what I'm learning is when you step up, you got to let go of your ego, and actually you have to let go of your personal thought process
Mhm.
of why how you feel what you feel. And it's like I wanted to complain all day yesterday, like to the point when I clocked out, I was tired. Like I'm on the bus going home, like why am I about to doze off? Like I've never been that tired before. And somebody was like, "Bird, you got to make sure you don't overdo it. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with stepping up, but now you have to learn and discern when to actually step down."
That's good.
Because if sometimes you got to step down because certain step up moments is not your moment, and you have to understand that you know what, this is for somebody else. So let me step down and let somebody else lead. And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, and it's like, Lord, I'm not the only one here. Why am I here? Just da, 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 da. But it's like complaining gets us nowhere. So if it's within my power, if it's within my jurisdiction, let me go ahead and knock this out and step up to the plate. And then, you're not going to also realize when you step up, you're not going to get the accolades. You're not going to get the congratulations
Right.
all the time. Now, there are times where it may surprise you. Like yesterday, my leaders gave me a shout out for all the things I did, and I wouldn't expect it. I was like, oh, well, praise God. Amen. But there are times where it's just not going to happen. So when you step up, you also have to remember and remind yourself, hey, I may not get a congratulations on this. I got
Right.
to do this for the Lord. Stepping up is service to the Lord, basically.
Yes, and see, I like I tell y'all all the time when walking out the door or going to work or When we are ministering to other people, when we have an event, my team knows I'm quick for it. Hey, do it as unto the Lord, because that's the last thing I want to remind them of. And I do that with my son when he goes out for work. I do that to my kids when I get off the phone. Whatever you're doing, do it as unto the Lord. I want that to ring in their ears, because I feel like when you know you're doing it as unto God, you'll adjust how you do it. We will be some lazy somethings trying to do stuff for some people when we don't have it in us to go, or when things have gone bad at the job, or people are talking to us wrong, or I got an attitude today and it's about my feelings. I'm in my feelings, so I'm going to show them by acting out. No, they could not tell. When I worked for Target for a few years, and I was in leadership within maybe about 7 or 8 months after starting off as like I think I started off as a clerk. I did. I was answering phones. So I started off as a clerk. Like 3 months in, I jumped up to team, with HR team member, and then I jumped up not even 2 months after that to a supervisor. That was my goal. I wanted to be that supervisor. They created a position for me. Now, one of the things that I knew was, first things first, you created a position for me to have. I definitely am not going to have y'all messed up or messing me up by taking my position back. The second thing was, y'all don't need to know all my business. You don't need to know when I have a bad attitude. You don't need to know that my son got on my nerves. You don't need to know that my baby daddy acting up. You don't need to know, all of those personal things at job. You don't need to know all of that. I'm good for go to work, do your job, and go home. Yes, I can talk with you. Yes, I can conversate with you about different things, and we can actually um, talk about life. I have no problem with doing that. But when it starts to get specifically in business that I feel like is personal, I cut that off, because you don't never want to give people ammunition to use against you, right? So I don't need you to know that I'm having a bad day. I need you to know that I'm at work and I turned off everything else before I got here, because I want to do it as unto the Lord, and I don't need you looking at me talking about her attitude stank. Now, my job that I said, I worked for Target for a couple of years. Before then, I was working for CPS. So that's when I learned, yep, my attitude stank. Like literally, y'all was about to fight in the school. Literally, literally had it out with an entanglement that was going on. It was just so bad. It was really bad. But one of the things that I did learn about myself in that moment was, I came here to do a job. And instead of me coming with the intention to do it as unto the Lord, or the intention to make sure that it got done in excellence, I came in and got caught up in some foolery. And I said, I got to let this go, because it doesn't look good on my character. And I'm always yelling, I want people to see the God in me, but I'm up here showing out. Nope. Because when I leave this place, they still going to be talking about me. They still going to tell other people about my attitude. They're going to tell other people about how I reacted to stuff. They're going to tell other people how they can get to me when I leave here. You leave an everlasting impression on people. So stepping up for me was, I had to change my attitude. I had to change the way I thought. I had to change the way I spoke to people. I had to change the way I felt, because I came to work and I kind of feel like now. Then I didn't think so, and I kind of look at it now, like look at it as a boss compared to me being an employee. And I came in feeling a little entitled when I was there. Like I started off just volunteering, ended up being a parent worker, and started working security for them. And all of the kids respected me, because they knew I would treat them just like their mama would. Go sit down, and I got time for that. Like we're not doing that today. Get it together. But I had to get me together, because I came in thinking that I can't lose this job. I'm doing a great job, and whatever's going on, it's an attitude. If I got an attitude, they're gonna brush it off. And I was good in with the principal. Well, listen, the principal showed me real quick when they let me go. I was like, I get it. I understand. And that humbled me in itself, for me to realize, chick, you ain't that much. You really cannot be put on a pedestal and have yourself up here when you never stepped up. You literally came in here and was winging this job. You came in and did what you do all the time. Now it's time for you to adjust. Mind you, I was younger, so then my attitude was just like, I got this. No, it's time for you to do something different. And I started doing it different when I got to Target because I wanted to be who I knew I could be. And I had been praying a lot. Like, God, I don't have a job right now. I need to figure this out. And in the process of me, right before I ended up leaving, well, right after I left that job, where after I got fired, um, I ended up getting into a car accident that I wasn't even in. Like, the car was parked in front of my house, and somebody backed up on a one-way street and tore up the whole front end of my car. Had my hood sitting in my front seat. And I was like, I don't have a car. I can't go look for a job. God was what is going on. Literally started seeing everything act up. Oh, your rent is due. You got to do this, that, and other. You messed up this job. Now you got to take care of all this stuff. I promise you, it will crumble around you. I started praying about my situation, and God shifted my mindset right then. You will not keep praying about the same thing over and over again. That's about your money. That's about that car. That pray for the stuff you need. I changed it up and started praying for wisdom and started praying for my attitude to change and started praying that He show me which way to go and how to shift my attitude, how to fix me. Lord, make me into the employee that any job will want. Make me not be able to get caught up in everything that's around me. Let me not see what's going on around me when I'm at work when it has nothing to do with me. Let me learn how to mind my own business. I need to learn how to mind my own business. And I'm like, I really, really, really just got caught up in that. Hey, I'm looking down. Hey, it says QT Bree Love. I love it. I'm going to invite you up to speak. It's okay if you don't want to come up. It's just that I have an open forum. So um it's literally I want to make sure I wanted to make sure that I was reconstructing who I was because I brought my hood lifestyle, and I'm being honest, my hood lifestyle from teenage years into this job. Well, you ain't gonna talk to me in type of way, blah 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 blah, and I would pop off. I was quick for it. Like, y'all, Tasha Page Lockhart got a song out that's called Different, right? And then she says, I was quick to fight. And then she said she was like night and day, right? Like, her now is like night and day. She was quick to fight. She was quick to pop off. You couldn't say whatever you want to say to her. That's the way I was. And I use different as my focal point for me to be able to use that song in itself as my get started day. I would cut that on and be listening to different, y'all get a chance to listen to Tasha Page Lockhart. I would listen to that song every morning. I'm different. I'm different. Make sure that you're different. And I would look at lifestyle that I had and adjust it. By the time God gave me that job at Target, it was so funny to me that when they called me for it, I went out for it, did the open. They had a whole big old like the employee, listen, the hiring process was huge. They had a mass employee hiring, and they called everybody in. It was about 50 of us for like 10 jobs, and there was only one clerical position for a clerk. I got that. That's the one I wanted. But I had been praying for wisdom, praying for time management, praying for everything that I needed to be the best at what I was going to do and the way God saw me being. And it worked. Y'all, it took me 6 months literally to get myself together to the point where I wasn't just popping off every time somebody looked at me sideways. Cause I was quick for it. You look at me and I'm like, what you looking at, bro? What you on, son? What you doing? Why you staring at me, chick? Like, that was me. I was using other words too. So let me just let y'all know. Sis ain't never always been saved. I wasn't no church baby. So I was like, this is not what we doing here. So I would go for it like that. And when God started changing me, my attitude changed and I noticed it changed and I started feeling like, man, I feel like a punk. I really I feel like a punk. And I said, well, no, God is just building me. Just building me. Bree, I'm gonna give you the mic. You have something to say.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you sound like me in a sense, like what you just said about I used to pop off.
Yes.
I'm much. Like I was about to say in the chat, I've simmered down a lot, but
All right.
I still have some of those ways. I'm like, why look at me like that? Like I'm like, no, no, be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
focus on God. I talk to myself and say, let it go, let it go. Because I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so I'm like, Lord, fix my face. But it's just, yeah.
I'm with you on that. That fixed my face. Let me tell you something. You said something right there. Those facial expressions give us away every time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, sometimes I put my mask on because of COVID. Let me put my mask on so nobody see my facial expression.
Listen, she just started using the protective mask as a way to
Yeah.
stop people from seeing
And I
her
don't even like
expressions.
wearing the mask.
I understand that though. I mean, sometimes you have to do that, and it's funny that you say mask. I brought it up the other day when I was talking about how we put our mask on, and when we, as women, put our makeup on, sometimes it's to mask how we're actually feeling that day. And so, bringing your mask on literally tells you that you're covering up the foolishness that you know should not be shown.
Right. You're right. So right.
And it's so funny to me that even like we will go about our day just like, oh yeah, we're good, I'm fine. I have my team is quick to tell me, like they nudge me when we in interviews or when we're out somewhere, and Kelly especially, listen, I wish she was on here. Kelly especially will sit right next to me everywhere we go, and I'm trying to figure out why Kelly want to sit right next to me, because Kelly's our publicist. She's not just our communications director. She literally does all our publicity stuff, all of our interviews.
Mm-hmm.
She will sit right next to me so she can nudge me. And then I'm
Wow.
like, what's the nudging for? And then I'm like, you're looking at her, and she goes, she's taught me, don't look at me when I nudge you. She keep looking at the camera. She said, know that your face is telling something other than what you saying.
Oh.
And I'm like, are you serious? Either that or she'll pinch up under my arm where people can't see her. And I'm like, why is she pinching me? And but I'm still looking at the camera. I've learned. So I'm like looking at the camera, I'm still talking, and it's like, hey, don't say that. So we got our little cues, like the nudge is watch your face. Pinching me is don't say that. And so I'm like, okay. And it's not like I'm cussing or nothing, but I'm real blunt. So I just say what comes what comes to me to
Mm-hmm.
say. But I think that within that we've learned, I've learned for myself personally that I need to fix my face. Now, one thing I did learn was my mentors. You know how you have mentors and your mentor is supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be in a higher level of most things than you. My mentors are just as bad as I am with those facial expressions.
Okay.
I did not pick a mentor that could fix their face. I'm like, I look
Well,
and I calls my mentor out. Brian, you were from All Nations. Do you know Mickey Michelle Davis?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
are you the
she,
All Nations Church?
yes,
Is that Doc? What's his name? Doctor
Stevenson,
Stevenson.
yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And I'm like, she when she was there, she's been my mentor for about 12 years, and literally like that was before we even got to All Nations, but she actually was the first one. I had to look at her and I was like, whoa, that facial expression. Now she having a full on conversation with us, y'all, just as clear. And I was like, this conversation is about teaching and the anointing, and I mean she all in. And her face changed and I was like, what's that? Like, why is she looking like that? But I'm stuck now on her face because I'm going, ooh, what just happened? So now I'm looking around the room trying to figure out what happened. Somebody said
Mm-hmm.
something and she overheard it, and her face responded to what she overheard. But she was still talking in teacher mode. None of that matched up. I'm just telling you. It didn't
Oh.
match at all. But she saw, I was like, everybody staring. She started looking around, and one of the ladies was like, your face. And she was like, hold on, y'all. Let me go get myself together. And she kind of walked away, and I was going, somebody said something. I want to know what's going on because I'm nosy. I want to know what's going on. So I waited, and when she called me to the side, she said, did you hear what I heard? And I was like, I heard something. I didn't know exactly what was said. And she was like, okay. She said, I was just wondering if I actually heard that. And I was like, well, I didn't hear it. So somebody else walked over to us and explained, like, yeah, it was said. And I corrected that and I took care of that. She was like, yeah, because it really vexed her spirit just that quick. But God wouldn't let the message not come out. She was still teaching. Like, we were all taking notes and everything. Her face was just like vexed. You could see it. And I was like, that's not good. Like your face. She said, I know you ain't talking about nobody in your face running around here telling all your business. And I was like, you know what? You right. So we kind of tag team each other when we're out and about. I'll look at her and just give her this look and smile, and she like, oh my face, I'm fixing it,
Oh,
and she'll do it to me. But we literally wear those expressions. You know how we can teach our kids with our facial expressions.
yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. I
And
have
you
3 boys.
listen, okay, three and they boys, Brian. No offense, but you know y'all are a handful.
I know we are. I know we are. My mom had me and three other boys.
Ooh.
All four of us are handfuls. We know.
Oh man. Brian Bird is for y'all. I thought I was like, I'm counting the wrong brothers. I thought it was two.
No, 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 no. Oh, yeah, it's me. And I have a little brother underneath me, Brandon. And then it's Ben, the one you know, and
Yes.
then it's Bernard.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I
Yeah.
be, and my mom be yelling at me, Ben, come here. I'm looking at her like, I'm not gonna respond. Because you should know I'm your firstborn. You should know what you know. Boy, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So,
That's mama mode. That's not even. You know what? You can't take offense to that, Miss. You know, Elder Deborah. I love her. I love her. She actually was talking like in class one day, and she was telling us about her boys, but I didn't know she meant four. She was like all of them. I thought she was talking about you and Ben. I'm like, it's only two. Why is she saying all? Now I know why. She said all, but
yeah.
yeah, she literally like in the midst of that, my mother does the same thing. And literally it's three of us. She got two girls and a boy. How you calling us by his name? That's what bothered me. I'm like, I'm a girl, mama. That's the wrong one. I can see if it was all boys, but it's not. You still mixing us up with your son. You know, then she started going, you was, what number are you? I'm like, three. I have to just, we just answer now. Just three, mom. I'm number three. I was the last one. And she goes, oh, yeah, you little one. Okay. Whatever you need to call me. I honestly think that they just called our name so much when we were younger that it just automatically comes out to the last kid that they called. It just randomly seems like it works like that.
Wow. My God.
But Brandon, look, Brandon's the only child, and he says I call him by all the God kids' names, and I'm like, yeah, that might be true. Like literally, I do it, so I get it. But listen, I want to make sure that we are taking our break and come back because if I don't, then our engineer acts up. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break, and it's gonna be so brief, y'all, because we started a little late this morning. So stick around, and we'll be back with myself, Brian, and hopefully Bree, you're gonna stay on with us and have a little bit more conversation. And we are live right now on YouTube, Facebook, Clubhouse, and F2GRadio.net. So hold on, y'all. We'll be right back. Hey y'all, hey, and we are back on F2GRadio.net and also back here on YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. So if you are following us, follow us on Facebook at F2G.radio and also F2G Network. Yes. And then also on YouTube, we are Faithful to God Network and on Clubhouse, F2G.network. Listen, I'm excited to be back with you all one more time. And if you missed the first half of the show, I see we have those coming on Facebook. Listen, you have missed a lot, but that's okay. because we're always going to talk about something that you can get a nugget from over here. So live with me on Clubhouse right now is none other than Brian Bird, and then also we have QT Bree Love on with us as well as a guest on the show. Y'all, look, Brian done became a regular. We we gonna have to keep him.
Listen,
We're gonna have to keep him. I mean, this has been good, some good talk, some really good talk. And I want to give a shout out to Randall who just popped into the room on Clubhouse. Listen, y'all, this conversation is pretty much stepping up to the plate. That's what we're doing. We're stepping up to the plate today. And the reason why we're doing that is that we want to do everything in excellence. We want to adjust the little things that we think are non-essential. We want to adjust those things that we think are not important enough to adjust. So like, oh, because I roll my eyes when people say stuff to me. That's not a big deal. It is though. Because if I'm looking at you and I'm looking at you for a job, I'm looking at you for a position, I'm looking at you for a change, I'm looking at you, hold on, for those of us that are single, as a spouse, and every time somebody says something to you, I catch you rolling your eyes, am I still looking at you? Do we have to adjust what just happened? Am I looking at you for that assignment that I wanted to get done? And it's a big assignment with that big raise and all of this different stuff that causes you to travel and do everything that you wanted to do. Am I still looking at you for it? If every time I ask you to do something, there's that breath that goes, you know, that one that your mama want to beat you about, am I still looking at you? Am I still asking you to do something, even though I feel totally disrespected by the way you responded? So I'm gonna leave that to Brian Bird because you work at a school.
this is hilarious. Because, like, yesterday I got real bad by this very, very point. Like, I'm like, y'all know how I am. And I'm talking to the kids. One of the things, here's the first thing. I establish relationship with the students because I don't want the students to be like, oh, here come Mr. Bird. Everybody get in line. Like, no, no. I walk, what's up? Let's have a great day. Now, if I'm giving an announcement and they don't like it, they roll their eyes, they ask questions in the middle of me explaining things, and I'm just like, oh my God. Mr. Bird, I don't understand. If you would just wait a moment, I was about to answer the question you just asked. So I didn't know like why it was irritating to me yesterday, probably because there was a lot going on. But I feel like I have to work on choosing patience because patience is a choice. Patience is a decision, and we have to realize that it doesn't. It's not like okay. I want the spirit of patience. Let it fall on me, Lord. Hallelujah. It don't work like that. You got to choose patience. And if you don't want to choose patience, then we have to understand, okay, why am I choosing violence? Why am I choosing to go against a peaceful solution? Why am I choosing to be aggravated? Why am I choosing to be frustrated? And so one of the things that I have to do is realize, okay, once I make a decision to choose patience, you always have to realize that there'll be a new level of choice to go deeper. What that means is it's like um, think of it this way: you enter into a door, into a room, and you're like, okay, I did it. I crossed over. I had the courage. I was able to do it. But once you get into that room, you see another door. You're like, oh, it took me too much to get to this room. Now I gotta go to another door. Okay, let me go into that door. Then you find yourself in a new room, but now it's another door. That's what patience look like. When you go through patience and do levels of patience, you have to choose it. You have to walk in it and remind yourself that each room, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be weird. It's going to try to prevent you from going and gaining access into the new room. So you have to choose patience. It's a choice. So that's my biggest thing is like, okay, I choose patience. Because if I choose patience, it don't matter what anybody say or how they respond. Because what happens is if we don't choose patience, we start to walk out manipulation because we want people to move a certain way. We're gonna have the expectation, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna respect me. And now we're in the wrong. Because now we're walking in manipulation and we don't have the patience to see things through. Like the other day, I had to send a student to a admin because I was like, I had this spirit like, get somebody else to do it. Like I had one of them moments, like like get somebody else to do it. Praise God. And I was like, yeah. And I'm listening to the admin talk, and when she was talking, she had the level of patience that was needed to get across the point that I was trying to say, and I just couldn't do it. So part of another thing about patience is you have to know when when you're unavailable to speak, when you're unavailable to like give the information that you need. You have to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna be integral. I don't have the patience for this. So let me hand this off to someone that is willing to give the correct language, that correct information, so we can all move forward in peace. Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Listen, I was over here like, yep, I know what that's like. Been there, done that. Bree, did you have something? Because you know you in these comments. What is
Yes, Lord have mercy, patience. Just when I'm going out every day, like patience with people. Like people can be so rude. Like I'm like, Lord, but I've been praying and asking the Lord to help me, honestly, just to help me with my patience in everyday life with my children, especially like you were talking about being integral and everything and doing my job unto the Lord. I've been really praying and seeking the Lord about that. Just want to make sure I'm being a good example for my children. So,
that part right there? I love that. Is the integrity of being a parent and making sure that you understand that first and foremost your children are watching you.
Yes.
They hear and see
Everything.
everything, and they're sponges. Literally, their brains
Mhm.
are sponges. They soak up everything, even the little things that you don't know.
Everything. Because y'all don't realize these pre-K babies, they tell it all. Y'all
Yeah.
better be mindful of what you say and do around the, my mom said this. I'll be like, my
You're right.
God.
Yes.
You're so right.
And that's so true. I've worked with preschool and up all the way up into high school, and it was really like I would be in there praying for babies all day long because I started after working with the kids because I worked with the older children first. And after working with them first, it made me think about when I got back into the daycare. Well, I guess I started with the daycare first, but I ended up actually being hands on with the older kids. So after working with them, I came back into daycare. And when I got into daycare, I started praying for the babies at nap time. Y'all, it bothered me so much about all of the stuff that we would talk to them about and the stuff they would tell us back from that was happening around them and that they saw or they heard and they knew or what was happening in their household, especially after what I had already been through. I would start praying for the babies in their cribs while they sleep, just covering their little lives because this thing was like get them while they're young because the enemy gonna try to get them while they're young too. So let me jump in now and at least lay a prayer on you that you covered. I don't know what y'all doing at home, but over here I'm gonna go ahead and pray for y'all and make sure that you're good coming out of this daycare going into preschool because the stuff that they talk about, some of that stuff will make you go, wait, where were you at when this happened? Like, did your parents know that you were standing that close to the conversation? You done took all this in and listen after seeing these pandemic babies as they call them. These babies is quick. So you better messed up and be talking to a 1 year old that can read you and every left, right, and which way because that's what they've been learning the whole time they've been at home. So the kids that left from school before the pandemic are not the same kids that came back to school when it was over with for them to come back because now they've learned so much. They've been at home with their parents 24 hours of the day. They've been around people that's not at school. They don't have that kid on kid connection all day long of their same peers. They're now just acting out what they've learned. So I listen, I commend y'all that's still working at CPSs and school systems and all that across the nation because y'all are the goats. Y'all are doing y'all thing, trying to work with these children that come back and you like this is not the child that left. They were so sweet when they left. You in here throwing chairs. What happened? Or cussing people out. You done learn some new words while you gone. Like, the, and using them correctly. The preschool babies is cussing correctly, y'all. Something wrong.
That's what happens when you are in an environment for so long. You get used to the language, the culture, and when you try to go back to do things as normal, you look different, you feel different, you move differently. And so now my heart posture is I don't try to teach the students like how to be. I just let them know what the standard of the building is. So when they walk in, whatever you picked up or whatever environment you came from, you're gonna have to leave that at the door because when you walk on this building here, this is what we're flowing. This is what we're walking with. And I feel like the only way for us to not win, but actually reach the students, reach the babies, is we have to go back and to explain what a standard is. We have too many young people and even young parents that don't have a standard for their life, and then they wonder why their family is going a little bit crazy, going a little bit hectic. Like, no, 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 no. Have a standard. If you have a standard, then when things go like, okay, standards are in place to say, you know what, this is this is where the level that I'm at. So at the level that I'm at, I'm going to move in excellence. I'm gonna create a goal to go further, and I have a mission and a vision to go further. But this is the standard. I cannot go underneath the standard. So if I'm there, I have to go further. But if there's no standard, there's no motivation for writing out visions. When there's no standard, there's no motivation to write out goals. When there's no standard, you have a free fall all. And so now we're dealing with a generation that don't even know what writing out their goal is, that don't even know what it means to dream, that don't even know what it means to have a vision for their future. Is because they don't know the art of what a standard can do. Having a standard for you in your life is going to help you understand what action you carry, what in my thought process, how do I was raised, and what culture that I come from, what culture am I going to move into. So having a standard is the thing we have to go back to, because a lot of people don't know what they want to do is because you don't know what standard you carry. What's your standard? What's your skill? What people, when we ask people that, it's weird. Like, well, I don't know. I don't know my skills, and I don't know. It's whatever. We in this whatever type of vibe, and I'm like, fam, no, you're there because you don't want to work. You're there because you're lazy. Now you're lazy because you ain't got no standard. That's ghetto. I'm sorry. It's real ghetto.
Right. Right. See, this is why I love when you come on. This is not only do we get the male perspective of it, but he's so real, y'all. He's so real. He humbly real. Like this is literally just him being him. And it's honest. It's the truth. There is no standard. He said there is no standard. Without standards, you cannot understand. Standard gives you a place to stand on. It's your foundation. It's what you set up as your blueprint of what it's supposed to go like. So if you don't have that standard, how can you make things happen? You just rogue. You out here bad. He say you ghetto. You just doing the hood. It's like it's a Make a Wish Foundation with what you're doing. It's just no, that's not what we're doing. Well, let me let y'all know because everybody can't see our clubhouse page if you're not on here. We are live on F2G radio. I'm sorry, F2G radio.net. Let me get that right. And we're live on YouTube at F2G network, which is Faithful to God Network, and then also on Facebook at F2G radio and Clubhouse F2G.network. But guess who just graced the building? Y'all, none other than our one and only, our co founder and our creative director, Mr. B Snow, is in the building. Hey, B.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Listen, we are talking about stepping up to the plate. That is our title today. And we've been talking about the standards. So you're joining myself, Brian, and Bree. This is amazing. Kelly Webb is on Facebook saying this is good. Yes. Listen, come on in the room. We are having a blast over here. So let me ask you, son, since I got you on here for a moment, before you have to go back to work. Um, as far as stepping up to the plate, and we're talking about in ministry and work, just making sure that we do things, as I always say, doing it as unto the Lord. How do you do that when you're working in a situation where it's hostile?
Repeat that one more time so I can get the full clarity of that question.
How do you do it as unto the Lord when you're working in a hostile situation?
You start first by checking yourself because for me, I'm definitely that person where if somebody irritates me or if I feel that I'm being like like I won't say apprehended. I'm not sure if that's the word, but pretty much aggravated on purpose, or if it doesn't work for me, if it's not pushing me towards success, I will go off on somebody in a minute, quickly, fast, and in three hurries, because I'm my mama's son. So first check yourself and make sure that you are not going to react in that way. One thing I love that Apostle Daryl has instructed us, by the way, for those who don't know, Apostle Daryl O'Neill is F2G Network's apostle. So we all attend different churches, but as a network, he's our apostle. So pretty much what he tells us is that sons do not react. We don't react to things, but we are responding in a holy way, a righteous way, a kingdom minded way. So you got events, you got your response, which equals the outcome. You check yourself first, because that don't have nothing. Second thing is start tuning your eyes into finding like parts of the environment that is structurally sound, that actually holds, that you can rely on. Like, cool, let's say work spot, right? I'm working. This is real life for me. Working in a situation where like I have a coworker who is pretty much giving me everything I need to be successful. At the same time, dealing with personal issues on their end, wasn't able to fully give me everything that I needed. So, with that being said, I could have went off easy because I'm like, yo, I'm not prepared. How am I supposed to do the job? But at the same time, there are other resources around me if I would just look, which I did. And now, being able to recover, organize, plan, build myself my own structured sound situation so that when things come, I already know they're coming. I can be prepared to be able to respond in a way that would actually have me execute in the right way. Hostile environments is something that honestly you can't control. They're there, they should be changed, they shouldn't exist. But at the same time, it's not something you can control. What you can control is yourself. What you can control is what you prepare. What you can control is the people that's around you and the people that you call on for support. So start with self. Figure out what helps you And then once you establish that, if the Lord would lead you or move you or instruct you to go in a space where you are to even confront the hostile situation, once you're prepared and with his permission, then sure, go ahead and do that. But don't do that in a, I had to do it. No, just say, hey, this is what I built because I didn't have the things that I needed. And that can go for ministry too, and that can go all across the board, even down to family. So, amen.
Oh my gosh. Come on here. Listen, y'all, we this conversation getting pretty good here because Kelly Webb done joined us over on Clubhouse as well. Kelly, listen, you listening in? What's your intake on that? Notice I say intake and not input.
Girl, shoot. I'm I'm being a sponge right now, listening to what everybody is saying. Um, but my input on how to handle negativity or stressful situations, or how that question go?
Yes, how to handle hostile situations. Like, how do you step up to the plate in that position? I kind of want to shift this question on you though, Kelly. The Lord is leading. I'm gonna let Him have His way with this. How do you understand other people's perspectives in a hostile situation?
Oh, child. How do I understand other people's perspectives in a hostile situation? Okay, honestly, if I'm, this is so many different ways. If I'm trying to better gauge your your insight or your perspective of whatever the situation is, I kind of like to. It's gonna sound weird. I kind of like to put myself on both sides of the situation. Um, Before I make a move or before I say something or before I try to address whatever the situation is, I'm that person that wants to get a understanding somewhat of what this person and that person is saying. If I'm trying to, get somebody else's perspective of whatever the situation could be. And then I'm also taking a look around and see what the situation is myself. Um, I guess you could say I'm that person that can feel somebody else's energy or feel what else somebody else is feeling. So that's one thing that I always have to take into account, if that makes sense. So yeah, I guess the simplest way is I always try to look and see what the situation is and then move off of that, what this person is saying and then what the other person is saying, and then try to address it in that arena before I, just jump in. Now, if it was me and I'm the one who I got to check my own perspective of the situation, I ain't gonna say it's always as easy because you're not really caring about what else somebody else is saying. But I still try to move the same way now, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna toss that question over to Brian Bird.
Wow. I knew it was gonna be tough to me. I like it because when I typed it in the comment, I'm like, "Oh, that's so good."
I saw it.
So here's the thing. This is so amazing. Every time you ask me a question, I be like having real life examples, like that's fresh in my head. So I I have a colleague, and we don't see eye to eye, and I'm like, you know what? Uh, I'm gonna be real transparent. There were moments where he cussed at me and I cussed at him, and we just don't have like a good working relationship until like probably like a month and a half ago. I'm like, Lord, I want to move in your glory. I want to be transformed by you. And the Lord told me, all right, go back and apologize. I said, who? What? To who? And God's like, you already know who I'm talking about. So I went back and I apologized to him. When I tell you his face lit up, he gave me a hug. I was like, oh, okay, God. This is probably what he needed the whole time. He didn't. He was just. He just needs someone to just that care enough to um, apologize and just to represent and feel the love of God. But then, make a long story short, after that moment, he's going right back into being hostile and angry and da da da. So what I've learned is, in these situations, I take me out the equation. So when I take myself out the equation, I leave room for the other person to argue with themselves. Because if this is a pointless hostility situation, you could be hostile all by yourself. Like Tyler Perry made a movie, you could be bad all by yourself. You should make one with hostility. I could be hostile all by myself. And when you do that, it makes the other person feel stupid. And that's not the goal, not trying to be petty or anything. But what happens is I cannot waste my energy trying to understand your perspective and know where I am and try to bring a peaceful resolution. Because sometimes those peaceful resolutions will not happen all in the same day. It takes time for that. So you have to give yourself the time and the space to say, you know what? How much energy am I going to give out today? And so at this point, I just take myself out of the equation and say, you know what? I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to entertain the fact that he's mad and whatever he got going on. I'm going to keep walking, do what I got to do. Kuna Matata. I don't got time for it. So that's my perspective.
I love it. I love it so much, Hakuna Matata. Listen, ah, y'all got to know I am a Lion King fan, so that right there just fills my spirit. Listen, because it means no worries, okay? None. I'm just saying none. So we are welcoming as well to the stage. Miss Raven has jumped on with us. Raven, our conversation today, first of all, hello and good morning.
Good morning.
Our conversation today is stepping up to the plate in different areas and how we handle things in life, at work, and you being an entrepreneur as well as of several businesses, and all the 501c3. I know I'm going to throw you right on in the pot. I got to throw you right on in there. So, how do you feel that you can work with you having several businesses, dealing with all of those different um, personalities? You know, you set the ground, the basis, the standard for each one of those places that you have that's your own. But we can't always, as entrepreneurs and CEOs, know that those personalities are gonna be exactly what we created. It's always gonna be something different, right? So how do you handle that as a CEO of making sure that everything's cohesive?
First of all, I come from a teaching background, so what I've learned is every student doesn't learn the same.
Mm-hmm.
Every student doesn't respond the same. And so what I've learned to do is take psychology classes on the human brain and how they operate. And this is something that we've learned in one of my companies called the STAR program. And I talk about it so often because it's so pivotal on how you act and how to deal with people. So it's called STAR. S stands for structured. So those people are they like things in order. They crave order. Things have to be in order at all times. Dealing with somebody who is structured, I have to understand, okay, make sure I come with my ducks in a row. I have to speak order to them. I have to give them A, B, C, and D will not move, right? Then there's the T, which are the technical people. Those are people that are very teachy, that are very, they always asking why. They're the why kid. But why? But why? But why? And how does this work? And how does this work? But why? I know with them, you have to thoroughly explain everything sometimes. And you have to be patient because sometimes when you're trying to lead people that are technical, you get frustrated when you're not technical. You're
Yeah.
like, why you keep asking me why?
I learned patience with them. Then we have the action-oriented people who most people love, but they make a mess of things, right? They love to move. They just move, move, move. They don't really ask too many questions. The thing is, they might get things done, but they might jack it up in the process, right? I like those people, but you have to learn how to slow them down to clean up some of their stuff, right? Hey, great job that you're moving, but let's get this in order. Great job when you're moving. And then lastly, there are people, our relationship people, who want to save the whales and save people, right? You have to understand they're coming there for a purpose. They're not coming there for the money. They're coming there for a purpose. It's always about how do they feel and how do I feel, and it must be purpose led, and I love my job and I love what I do and I love to help. And when you learn those different mind, attributes, you learn how to deal with people in each of their own lanes. Even though I am very A oriented, but I'm also structured, I understand, okay, I might not be that much of a T or R, but I'm going to have to learn how to be on your level of giving you the questions of why. And I have to learn how to give you on the levels of giving you more love and hugs and more, hey, this is purpose for this way, this purpose for that way. And making sure that I show up in every different aspect so that they can all have the same movement. Also, I have learned that, unfortunately, you have to become mommy, mediator, and friend.
Yes.
And sometimes that can be a lot. Yeah, especially when you're going through yourself. You're like, oh, God. But you got mommy, mediator, and friend. A person is not going to produce if they're going through it. If they're going through it at home. One of the things I hear all the time is you can't be a public success and a private nightmare. That's the truest thing in the world, because if you're a private nightmare, it's going to show up in your work.
Yep.
And so when you see the work is being affected, your first question is, okay, what's going on? No, what's going on at home? Talk to me. And not be judgmental and be able to be mommy, friend, or mentor in that place. And then the last thing I've learned is, and this is going to sound really churchy, it's learn to operate in your gift when you walk into any place you work at. Sometimes we leave the title of prophet or apostle or pastor or evangelist or healer or intercessor at home, but your gift will make room in every aspect of your life, not just in the church house, not just with church people. It will also make room for you in the business world. Right there's the moment where I have to take a moment. Okay, let's pray. I've been on board meetings where I'm talking to CEOs of other companies about doing different things, and I can tell that God will have me shift the room with even a prophetic declaration. And they're not knowing I'm prophesying. They think I'm just encouraging, but I'm declaring things in the room. You have to sometimes use what God naturally gave you in your belly.
Yes.
To sometimes go into a room and to really flow. And the biggest thing is, outside of that, identifying their gifts as well. So if I notice that you're pastoral, if you're a healer, if you're naturally encourager, if you're natural evangelistic, because you're the recruiter of the company. I love the evangelists. They recruit for the company, okay?
Yes.
But you start to learn different, okay, start studying different things about even the giftings and realizing, okay, I know how to use you in the company. I know how to use you. I know how to help you. I know how to help you. That way you're not frustrated when building, because building can be frustrating, right? Especially when you build it once and it falls, you got to rebuild it again. Building it once is hard, but building it again is harder. People don't talk about that either. That's a whole other story. But yeah, so and I like what Brian was talking about, the story of the Lion King. But there's something that God had revealed to me some years ago about building. And he asked me a question: who was the antagonist? Who was the actual villain in Lion King? Everybody answered the question by saying Scar.
Yep, they do.
But it wasn't Scar.
Yeah.
It was Timon and Pumbaa. And like, how was Timon and Pumbaa?
Talk about it.
Yep.
Go ahead and talk about it.
How was they the real antagonist? The reality of it was they were trying to trick him out of who he was called to be. They had conspired behind his back before he ever met them. Hey, that's a lion. We're scared of that lion. And so instead of helping him be his full potential, we're going to show him how to be a meerkat, right, and a whatever the other thing was, right? We're going to trick him out of purpose.
We're going to trick him we're going to teach him how to start eating, animals and feed off and be the king. We're going to teach him how to eat worms and bugs and grass. And we're going to teach him how to rule and reign in war, which lions are made to rule, reign in war. We're going to teach him how to Hakuna Matata. There's no words for the rest of my days. Right?
Yeah.
When you are called to a level of influence like a lion, you're supposed to have war. You're supposed to have things happen. You're supposed to go into things and you know what I'm saying, and conquer things. And so we're telling him there's no worries. What you told him was he don't supposed to have any more worries or any warrants for the rest of his days. You tricked him out of purpose. But it took another cat to remind him, which is his then became his wife, who he was, right? He had to get refocused back on who he was. So when you're in business, there's going to be meerkats, and there's going to be some pumas and some and some Timon and Pumbas in your area that you have to identify quickly and shut the mouth of them, because they're going to trick the people around you and sometimes yourself out of purpose, because they're going to tell you, no, you should be this, and they're only telling you that out of fear because of what they see you can potentially be. When they're scared of you, they're never going to push you to your greatness. They're going to still pull you back to where they're at. So that's it.
Listen, did she say that's it after all of that? Did she really just jump in and say that's it?
Right.
Right.
I gotta watch Lion King again.
Whole different perspective.
Exactly.
Oh my God! Like what I as Raven was talking, I was even thinking to the lenses of Simba was a child, and he was running away because hyenas was trying to kill him. But I feel like even in him reaching Timon and Pumbaa was God's way of preserving him, so there would be the right moment in time that he could be king. And when the time came, his past, who he was, came out of nowhere. First it was Nala, then you had the prophet Rafiki come to take him back to his father and to say, hey, yep, your father lives. He lives in you. And notice how Mufasa says something so powerful. He says, you have forgotten me. And Simba's like, I've been crying about you, grieving you for years. What you mean I forgot you? Mufasa said, you have forgotten who you are. Therefore, you have forgotten me. So when Raven talked about how there are people who are trying to get you to be relaxed and trying to get you to be comfortable, and we're talking about stepping up to the plate. The reason why we don't step up is because we don't know who we are. And we don't know who we are, we forget who our Father is. And so Mufasa said one powerful thing. I'm not going to tell you who killed me. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of what happened. I'm going to tell you this one main thing. You got to go back and remember what I told you. Didn't I not tell you everything the light touches is yours? You running from it. That is so good. Really quick, I'm done. I'm gonna finish the revelation God showed me, because y'all haven't pulled me into this conversation about Timon and Pumbaa. But I'm not sure of the bird's name, but the bird was the intercessor. Zazu. Zazu. The bird was the intercessor. He was the one always standing in the gap, right? He was always the one standing in the gap, bringing, hey, listen, no, wait, come back, God. Oh, wait, you're doing too much. Hey, Father, can you go get your son? He was always the one standing in the gap, right? And then, of course, you mentioned the monkey, who was the prophet, right? Who kept reminding him of who he was, bringing him back to purpose. But what God had shown me was the reason why Scar was not the villain. God was showing him how to be a lion. The problem was he was challenging him at a level he wasn't at yet. So yes, you are a lion, but right now you're a cub. And so, Scar was trying to make him be a lion, or be a grown lion too fast, right? And so God was showing me, he said, there's sometimes even in business where I'm trying to grow you in this area, but then you let people antagonize you or pull you into, hey, I'm going to be this big lion now. It ain't time yet. Sometimes it's okay to be small for a season. Yes. This is your learning season. Don't let them pump you into doing more than you're supposed to do right now. Yes, that's part of your purpose. That's where you're going to be eventually, right? But that don't mean that's where you're at right now. Let me finish growing the cub in you so you can be the lion later
later on. And once he had his season of even disappearing for a while, kind of like Jesus had his season where he disappeared, right? For a while, he had to grow up and grow.
Yes.
Because if they would have got Jesus at 12 years old and killed him, will we still have the Savior, right? They have to give him some time to become back and be the healer and everything he needs to be so he can die on the cross and be the Savior, right? And so he said he needed that time to be separate. So when he came back, he can rule and reign. And now he was able to face Scar as, wait, now it's lion to lion, not lion to cub. Thank God I didn't let you to punk me when I was a cub to step up to being a lion because I wasn't ready yet, right? Thank God I had the Zazu, right, praying and keeping in the gap to keep me away. Because if not, I would have been killed before it was time. Sometimes the pressure of success, when you're moving too fast and you're not moving with the pace of what God is telling you, it can also crush you. People don't see that side of it, right? When you're moving too fast and you're trying to grow too fast and you don't have God fully full, it's all about timing. That pressure can also kill you. Purpose can kill you too. So you got to understand timing. You got to understand the season that you're in, and you got to be sensitive to God's voice the whole entire process. This is why devotion and prayer is so necessary with building something, because you can't do it by yourself. So I'm done.
Come on, y'all know what? Let me tell you. That thing, Kelly, you had something?
Jesus. What? Listen here, girl, chatless girl. It's too early in the morning. Got me up there screaming and hollering. I done jumped all the way out the bed. I'm just, whew, come on. When you can sit here and you can take the Lion King and minister to the people, when you can show how the prophecy was actually spoken over the people and the Lion King, baby, baby, yeah, come on, yes, child, come on now,
Right.
Okay, real quickly. Raven just started something. I'm stirred, but I want to do a quick prayer for every listener, everyone's listening, that they feel like they're Simba, but they feel stuck and they're feeling like they're out of place and they don't have the courage to confront their past and that confront their history. So, Father, I thank you that, Lord God, that you open up this discussion to step up to the plate, to return back to what you have called them to be, and back into their rightful place in the earth. Father, I thank you that your sons and your daughters are going back home, Father, to be everything you have called them to be. Father, I thank you for new jobs and new positions that are coming into their lives even now. I thank you, Father, for reconciliation that's going to take place now, because now your people are having an identity in you, Father, and may their ears unlock to hear the voice of the Father. Simba did in the movie. He heard his father's voice. Father, I'm praying that your people will begin to hear the instructions clear as day, Lord. I thank you, Father, that you are here and you are here in our hearts, in our mind. So, Father, I'm praying your people will begin to stand up and step in, take the step up into the place and to begin to walk and roar as a lion. Father, I thank you that they're no longer cubs, but they're a full-grown lion. And I'm praying that you help them to move into their season in Jesus' name. Okay, I'm stirred. I'm jumping around the house now. Let me calm down.
Come on here. Listen. They talking about let me calm down. Look, let loose. That's what you do. You don't calm it, you let it go. I'm telling y'all, this has been a real good one. A real good one here. Because when you start looking at time and I'm like, this is my station. I ain't gotta stop this. We gonna we gonna keep this going until the next thing happens. But I love this conversation. I love how you went there, Raven, because I am a Lion King fanatic. So yes, I've seen all of the different Jesus parts in this that we can grab out and put together the story, and in this the life of the king, the life that we're supposed to be living is right there in the Lion King. They set this up, y'all, till it was almost talking about us. This thing was good. I mean, so good. And Brian in the comments, so we need a part two to the Lion King. Listen, I see y'all on Monday for part two of the Lion King. We gonna talk about this thing because she done triggered something. We gonna get into this. So Raven, if you can come back on Monday morning, 7:45 a.m., that would be great.
If I'm awake.
We're gonna have to make sure she get woke up. Y'all be like, could you listen?
But I will say this: one more movie. I'm not gonna go into the full details of the movie. If y'all ever go back and watch the new Mulan, not the
Mm-hmm.
animated version, the
Mm-hmm.
new
Mm-hmm.
Mulan. When I tell you I was up at 3 a.m. a couple years ago having full deliverance because of that movie.
Yep.
Um, and I'm not going to spoil it right now, but if you go back and it's crazy. So God is definitely in that movie 100%, but it talks about building and being who God called you to be.
Oh
So
yeah. Definitely. I've seen it, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I am a Disney fan. Disney movies, you would not believe how much they put all of these Jesus and Christ and Christian and with the stuff that we go through, our standards are being placed in there. Somebody on that team saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost.
but see, that's also why they try to put the other type of movies in there too. So
Yeah.
because they know people are picking up on the messages that God has put and dropped into the ears and to the eyes of the one who has been, who's creating, who's writing, who's thinking about it, and who wants to make sure that that message come across. When you put it in there, I feel like certain things I put in, and no, I've never seen that movie, but I will be watching this back. But I feel like the certain things that I put in there because they took God out of school.
Yes.
They not really truly telling who he is. They not telling what the history is. They not telling why you need to come to him. And then, unfortunately, some people kind of take the. Okay, I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but they removed it. Say that right there. In a lot of places. Right. They removed it in a lot of places. So the way to bring them back into your life, to our life, because to be honest, like you said, you a Disney fan. I love Disney too. I think I fell away from it because my children got older and I got busy. But that's also how people look at God. I fell away from him because I got busy. You know what I'm saying? So they put it in there for not only the children but for the adults to bring you back to him. So, girl, listen, I know you gotta go. So
Listen, in the process of everything that we've talked about today, the adjustment of stepping up to the plate, even in the Lion King, they talk about how he stepped up to the plate. Simba in himself had to step up. Simba had to step up and do all of the things that couldn't be done while his father was alive because of all the animosity that was going on, because of all the confusion that was happening, because there were people that Timon and Pumbaa, and I so love that Raven went there because I was like, Lord, I can't tell the kids that Timon and Pumbaa was the actual people that started all this stuff. But I was like, I can't touch on that with the babies. But I promise you, I saw that and I was like, y'all do. I wonder if do they even know that they are drawing him back. And although he's in a place right now where he can sit and kind of just be himself with all the heaviness, you're dragging his purpose out of him, pulling it from his heart, and now turning him into some little kitten that don't even know he got claws. It's
come
like
on now.
literally can't defend himself, literally not trying to defend himself, literally won't go out and hunt, can't do his purpose, can't teach and lead the women that's supposed to go out and hunt, can't set up a household, doesn't know how to do anything, literally laying around and looking up to the sky while you got Nala out here being the everything, the goat. She out there just finding him and don't even know she finding him. Like I'm just out here trying to find food to take care of our kingdom because it's breaking down under this supposed be leader. And although we didn't like the way Scar did things, Scar was pushing him out. One of the things that eagles do, they push their babies out of the nest and wait for them to learn how to fly. They push them out to make them go, right? All he was doing was pushing them out. And he was pushing him out to see if he could lead. He was pushing him out to show him you're not ready. Even though you got the heart of a lion, you still got the body of a cub. But when he came back in full force. He was ready for it all. So this has been an amazing show because I will keep going because I will watch that movie 19,000 more times. So I'm just saying. But I thank y'all so much for being on Raven. We gonna wake you up. I'm letting you know now. We gonna make sure you woke. Brandberg, sneak off to a corner if you at work on Monday morning. We gonna need you at 7:45 too. So I want
Oh, I'm there.
everybody to join us back on Monday at 7:45 a.m. for the Lion King Part 2. This was just a snippet of what we gonna get into. So over the weekend, the assignment to the people is watch the movie The Lion King, the Part 1. Watch the very first Lion King movie. Find those nuggets that's in there so you can follow along with what we're saying and not be confused. The goal of a blueprint is to have a design, but you have to see the blueprint, right? So why don't you go watch the movie so you can know what we're talking about and you can put the parts together of where it fits into your life, what you need to change, how do you step up, how do you plan for the best, what's your strategic moves that you need to have to get out of a bad situation and get back in line with what God has called you to be. How do you make your purpose work out? How do you walk out your purpose? Y'all join us back. We are live right now at F2G radio.net. Look, I didn't get excited about the movie. I'm like, I'm watching Lion King. Okay, so y'all, F2G radio.net. We are live right now and we are enjoying this. Join us back at 7:45 a.m. on Monday. We are here Monday through Friday. Just to remind you all that tonight F2G Radio will be a replay because the host of the show have an event on site. But I am so excited for you all to join us on Monday and to start our week off with a boost that's going to fire up your week. Y'all, we going to shake hell next week. Y'all ready to go? Let's get it. Let's go. Be back with y'all soon. Bye, guys.